I have never felt the need to redo a Euclid proof before until now. And the reason I'm doing this is because I did it wrong the first time. I'm going to do it right this time. This is Euclid Book 7, proposition number 1. And I'm going to follow this up shortly thereafter with Euclid Book 7, proposition number 2. And what this is covering is Euclid's algorithm. I didn't even know Euclid had an algorithm until I did this. Okay. Now then, I'm going to start this video by showing you this. You can actually pause the video and write all this information down, or just take a picture of it and put it up on your computer or whatever. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and read this to you. It says, two unequal numbers being set out. Well, the unequal numbers in this case are going to be 34 and 15. But there are other numbers you could use. Okay? And the less being continually subtracted in turn from the greater. Now, what does that mean? It means that you subtract 15, which would be the less, from the 34. And if you subtract 15 from 34, you get 19. If you subtract 15 from 19, you get 4. Well, you can't subtract 15 from 4. Unless you get some negative number. We don't have any negative numbers in here. Matter of fact, just to prove my point, Euclid did not even use numbers. He used magnitudes. So you can't have a negative magnitude. Doesn't work that way. Okay. If the number which is left never measures the one before it until a unit is left, the original numbers will be primed to one another. Now, what does that mean? If the number which is left, well, if you subtract 15 from 34, you get 19. If you subtract 15 from 19, you get 4. Okay? Now, 4 doesn't measure 15. And you say, well, it measures 15, it just leaves a remainder. Well, in this case, we don't want a remainder. Okay, so 4 really doesn't measure 15. Okay? The original numbers will be primed to one another. Okay? So, anyway, let's get into this proof here. For the less of two unequal numbers, A, B, and C, D. Well, AB is 34, CD is 15. Being continually subtracted from the greater, which I already illustrated to you, let the number which is left never measure the one before it until a unit is left. Well, 4 is not going to measure 15. Alright? And likewise, when you start subtracting 4 from 15, then you're going to have 15 minus 4, which will be 11. And then 11 minus 4 is 7. And 7 minus 4 is 3. And of course, 3 doesn't really measure 4. Okay. I say that A, B, C, D are primed to one another. That is, that a unit alone measures A, B, and C, D. For if A, B, and C, D are not primed to one another, some number will measure them. Let a number measure them, and let it be E. So we're going to say that E is the length of 3. Okay, we're going to say E is the length of 3. Let CD measuring BF leave FA less than itself. Okay, well, CD is the same length as, well, CD, if you multiplied CD twice, it would be the length of BF, because 15 times 2 is 30, and BF would also be 30. And AF would be 4. Let me show you how that one works, okay? So we got CD here, and it's 15. We're going to measure it twice, and that's going to make BF, which is going to be 30, and then what's left is 4. Okay, so now we know AF is 4. let AF measuring DG leave GC less than itself. Well, AF is 4. And of course, if you keep subtracting 4 from CD, you're eventually going to get 12, which is this DG right here. And after 12, you'll have a remainder 3. And CG, of course, is 3. Now, if you measure AF here, this AF right here, with CG, you're going to get FH, which is 3, and AH, which equals 1. And that's what's going to be said here in the next couple seconds here. Alright. And let CG, measuring FH, leave a unit, AH. And AH, being 1, is a unit. Since then E measures CD, well, if E is 3, it's going to measure CD. 3 times 5 is 15. Okay? And CD measures BF, which is 30. Okay? E also measures BF. Well, 3 times 10 is 30. So it does. But it also measures the whole BA. Now, does 3 measure 34? No. But we're going to pretend that it does, just to go on with this proof here. Okay? Because we can say that E measures AB, which would be, we can subtract 33 from 34, leaving a unit AH. Okay? Okay, since it's supposed to measure BH and it's supposed to measure BA, I'm sorry. Since this is measuring BF and it's also going to measure BA, then it's also going to measure AF, which of course 3 does not measure 4, but we're going to say that it does, just for argument's sake. But AF measures DG. AF measures DG. Therefore, E also measures DG. Well, in this case it does, because 3 times 4 is 12. But it also measures the whole DC, which it does. 3 times 5 is 15. So we'll measure the remainder CG, which 3 and 3 are the same. 3 measures itself once. But CG measures FH. CD measures FH. In this case, it actually does, because 3 and 3. Therefore, E also measures FH. Well, it does. But it also measures the whole FA, which, of course, it doesn't. Therefore, it will also measure the remainder of the unit AH, though it is a number which is impossible. Well, 3 will never measure 1. How many times will 3 go into 1? Never. It'll never happen. Therefore, no number will measure the numbers A, B, and CD. Therefore, A, B, and CD are prime to one another. Now, you could say this. Well, that 3 will measure CD because it's 15. It will also measure AB because it's 34, but it'll leave a remainder of 1. I won't argue with that. But the thing is that when you have that remainder of AH, E is also supposed to measure AH, and it never will. So even if it measures everything else, it'll never measure that AH. And that's why these two are prime to one another. They're not prime numbers in themselves. 15 certainly is not a prime number, and 34 is not a prime number. Well, I don't think so. It may be. I don't know. I'd have to check my list. I'm not sure about the 34. I know 15 is not a prime number, but I'm not sure about the 34. But either way, whether 34 is prime or not makes no difference. Okay? The only thing is that E will never measure AH, and because of that, these two are prime to each other. There is no number that will measure both AB and CD. And that's the proof. Alrighty. I will tell you more in my next video. Stay tuned.